Good morning, Year 4, and welcome to Wednesday's home learning. Today we're going to look at understanding how to use a line graph. And a line graph is what you see down here, and I think it might be the first time that you've ever used a line graph before, so don't worry because we're going to spend a couple of days looking at line graphs. If we look at line graphs, often they tell us they represent something over a period of time. So as you can see down below here, we've got the days of the week. And this line graph is representing how many push-ups I do on different days of the week. So on Sunday I would do 25, but on Monday my numbers have gone down to 15. On Tuesday I went back up to 25. On Wednesday only 5. On Thursday I went up to 10 push-ups. And Friday I didn't do any. It's not very good at all. And on Saturday I did 20 push-ups. So what a line graph does is it portrays something that you do over a period of time. So it could be 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. You could have different here. We're looking at representing push-ups every day. So after Sunday, how many I did on Monday, how many I did on Tuesday. But it could be over the weeks, so you could have done week 1, week 2, week 3, you could have done months, or you could even do years. So it often represents the data over a period of time. Let's look at my first question. Class 4 grew a plant. They measured the height of the plant every week for 6 weeks. The table shows the height of the plant each week. Create a line graph to represent this information. What scale would you use on the x-axis and y-axis? Between which 2 weeks did the plant reach a height of 10 centimeters? So on a line graph, on the x-axis, which we know is our horizontal line, so I'm just going to write the x there, so we know that's the x-axis. So on our x-axis, which is the horizontal line at the bottom, we always represent the period of time we're working in. So as you can see, we did it over 6 weeks. And we have to represent data for week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, week 5, and week 6. So that's what I've done at the bottom. I've got week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, week 5, week 6. So I'm going to label my x-axis weeks. Then for my y-axis, obviously I'm going to be measuring what? The height of the plant. I'm going to be measuring the height of the plant. So obviously I've put up my numbers and I've decided to go up in 4 each time. And I'm going to label my y-axis height of the plant. So I'm going to quickly label my y-axis height of the plant. And then I'm going to spin it round, and that's where I'm going to label my y-axis. So remember, my vertical line here is my y-axis. Now I need to record my information. Well, on week 1, how high had my plant grown? It had grown 4 centimeters. So I have to go to week 1, go up to 4. Often, if they're giving you a measurement, you might also want to just make sure that people know you are measuring in centimeters. So I've marked 4. In week 2, how high had my plant grown? That's right, it had grown 7 centimeters. So for week 2, I'm going to go up and I'm going to mark out 7 centimeters. And again, that's just going to be below my 8, isn't it? In week 3, my plant had grown up to 9 centimeters. So I've got to now represent 9. So for week 3, I'm going to be just above 8, aren't I? For week 4, my plant grew to 12 centimeters. So I'm going to have to go up to week 4 and I'm going to have to represent 12 centimeters. And then for week 5, I got to 14 centimetres, and I know 14 is halfway between 12 and 16. And then for week 6, my plant grew to 17 centimetres. So week 6, I'm going to work my way up, and I'm going to be just above the 16. I then have to connect all my lines, drawing each individual line up to the thing. And then, as you can see, I've created my line graph, and we can see the steady growth of my plant from 4 centimetres to 17 centimetres over 6 weeks. So over 6 weeks, my plant grew from 4 centimetres to 17 centimetres. Let's move on to the next question. The graph shows the temperature in the playground during a morning in April. Here we can see our time, and what have they measured our time in this time? That's it, hours. Here we start at 9 AM, then they go up 1 hour to 10 AM, and then another hour to 11 AM, and finally 1 more hour to 12 noon. So we've gone up in hours. As you can see, the temperature steadily rises. So at the temperature at 9 AM was how many degrees centigrade? Or Celsius, actually, sorry. How many degrees Celsius? So at 9 AM, the temperature was how many degrees Celsius? Can you quickly work it out? Going up from 9, we come to 4. So it was 4 degrees. What was the warmest time of the morning? Quickly pause the video and try and work it out. That's right. The warmest time of the morning was at 12 noon. Because at 12 noon, we had the highest temperature of 9 degrees Celsius. Let's look at our final question. Jack launched a toy rocket into the sky. After 5 seconds, the rocket fell to the ground. Which graph shows this? Explain how you know. Can you have a look at both graphs and explain which one you think is correct? Is it graph B or graph A? Pause the video and try and write an explanation. The answer is, of course, graph A, because the rocket, as he said, goes up for 5 seconds to a big height of 30 meters. So the rocket's gone up, but then it came back down to the ground. So your explanation should have read something a little bit like this. Graph A is correct because the height of the rocket increases, then decreases quickly again, returning to a height of 0 at 5 seconds. So the rocket went up and then came back down and got back to 0 at 5 seconds. Well done if you writ a similar explanation, and if we are explaining, it's often good to use because then we know that we're going to be explaining what we're saying. Use the information we've learnt today to now go and complete your worksheet. Good luck!